testing microphone levels now. Let's see if this works. Hello, hello everyone. We're gonna get started in a minute. Actually, we're gonna get started right now. Click. I'm gonna take this off so I can hear myself talk. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. I'm here with Yoni. We are Abbey Games, and this is Godhood, the brand new God game that we are kickstarting right now. If you haven't seen it yet, go over to Kickstarter.com, search for Godhood, and check out the project while you're watching us stream. And if you've already backed, thank you so much. We love all our backers. We have a... Sorry? Oh, sorry. My producer's telling me to sit back from the microphone. Just a little bit. Let me know how that is. And then we'll get started here. For those of you that have already seen the last stream, we're going to be showing off a new build of the game this time. It has new features and new religions for us to build as well. And for those of you that didn't see the previous stream, welcome. We're going to be streaming Godhood, a game in which we're going to create our own religion and be a god, a tribal god that is looking over their tribe and deciding what is wrong and right. I'm just going to start a new game here. Let's do it. I'm going to be repeating some of the things we talked about last time, in case we have repeat listeners. Every game of Godhood starts with you creating your own god. This build, I will say, is still super alpha, even though it is an improvement over the build we had the last stream. So don't mind the way that some things look or sound, because it's all very much in progress. We're going to be starting off by building our god, and we're going to do that by choosing an appearance out of these four here, deciding what we're called, what our religion is called, and what our worshippers call themselves. And I would love some input here by the chat. What kind of appearance are we thinking? We got a cool red snake. We got this little teaser here for when we finish the Kickstarter. Little Cthulhu man, a beautiful heart goddess of some kind, and you know, the all-important I don't really know option. We are experimenting with allowing you to sort of construct your own god's visuals as well in the final game, but we'll see how that turns out. First, we're just focusing on finishing the damn thing. Cthulhu, obviously. I'll go with Cthulhu, you're right. That should be obvious. What are our followers going to address us as? Cthulhu would be too lame. And copyright infringement. Oh no, wait, that's... I don't think there's a copyright on Cthulhu. Fire Snake for the win. Make sure you change... Yeah, there's multiple spellings of worshippers. We haven't quite figured out which one we want to use yet. But I am personally more inclined to use the double P. See what letters come to me. Opu. Opu. I need a good name. I need a good name from the chat. I'm not getting Turtle Puss. Alright. Turtle Puss. It's not my idea. I'm just following what chat has to say here. Yeah, totally true. You should see me in a character creation screen of an RPG. I take forever. I like Turtle Puss, come on. What is our religion called? I think I'm gonna... Turtleism. Something simple. And our worshippers are called... I really like Turtletopia. I'm gonna go with Turtletopia, and our worshippers are called tortoise. Also, thanks chat. Since we are some kind of turtle god, I'm gonna go with green as our color. universal color of turtles, for those who have seen Teenage Mutant Variety, and we're gonna get started. The world is populated by many rivaling gods. Out of nowhere, Turtlepus came and started to meddle in this world. Somewhere in the old city, one tribal member was destined to become the first prophet of Turtletopia. Wow. So, like the text there implied, in godhood you are but one god in a mystical world that is filled with all kinds of gods. And it's your goal to become the greatest god of all. And how we're going to be doing that, I'm going to be showing off in just a second here. From nothing, Turtlepus appeared to Montezuma. A new time would come. Montezuma and all his descendants would be blessed by Turtlepus. First, Turtlepus commanded Montezuma what is right. So this is going to be our first decision here. Right now we only have two choices, but you know, in the finished game you're obviously going to have a whole bunch of different options at your disposal here. But for now we're going to be picking between war and peace. We're going to be going for war for this stream as well. And then next week we're going to be doing ourselves a peace religion. So then I'll show that off. But for now let's stick to war, so I can show off all the new mechanics tied to that. Montezuma began to spread the message of Turtlepus and the boon of war. Some converted and became tortoise. However, the elders who worshipped the ancestors thought this idea to be dangerous. They could not see how they were wrong in opposing Turtlepus. A sacrament was called to determine who is right. So the sacrament is how, in this game, in this world, this mythical world, people prove that their god is the right one. And we're going to be doing this a lot to prove to others that, you know, Turtlepus and Turtletopia-ism, or whatever, is clearly the right religion. I'm preparing my team of worshippers here. They're going to be going up against the ancestors over here. I'll explain how this stuff works later for those who are new. And I'm just going to start. We're going to be starting our first sacrament, a ritual conflict, to determine who is right and who is wrong. And I'm feeling pretty good about this one. We're going to get the first turn. So, my disciples have a mind of their own, and it's up to them to decide what they're going to do. I just provide them with the options they have. So I'm currently hands off. Oh no, that's not good. I have lost the sacrament. I'm not strong enough yet to defeat these elders. It was not yet time. Turtlepus needed to test Montezuma's faith. The elders were resolute in their judgment. Montezuma and a few followers were banished from the old city. Before leaving, Montezuma prophesied that one day Turtlepus would come back and conquer the old city. One day Turtlepus will bring war. We traveled for days with the exiled. They grew tired and hopeless until we found our sacred ground, where we built a temple to Turtlepus. It will flourish and be the center of the world. From here on, Montezuma and a few disciples could develop a plot to convert the old city and spread Turtletopia all over the world. So that was our little tutorial sequence. Well, spoilers, but you're kind of meant to lose there. And it's going to set our first goal in the game, the quest for war. Because we, as Turtlepus, obviously decided that war is great and is how people should live their lives. Our people thirst for blood. If we slay the peaceful elders, we gain the warmonger commandment. Now, if you've kept up with the Kickstarter, you know what that means. A commandment will allow us to make war an integral part of our religion and build arenas and start like blood rituals and things like that. But we're not quite there yet. This is our little holy site. And this is also where most of the game is going to take place. It'll look a little bit differently for the people that have seen it in the last stream. Every day in the game, because the game takes place over a number of days, which are sort of like turns, almost, all my different little disciples are going to be deciding for themselves what to do in my holy grounds. So if we actually look over here, we have a list of our disciples. Here's Montezuma, my prophet, so to say. And over here it's going to tell us what they've decided to do. For example, Chipactli here is just lazing about. He's not doing much of anything that is useful. And as disciples do things, specifically they can interact with some of the different facilities I have here in my holy site, such as this temple. When they perform rituals there, or just, you know, do stuff, they will gain experience, they will level up, they will learn new abilities, and they will become more powerful. And when they become more powerful, I can beat other tribes in the sacrament we just witnessed to convert them to my religion, and as such, watch my religion grow. Now, the game is quite indirect. Like I said, my disciples decide for themselves what they will be doing with their day, but there is a way for me to actually influence that, and that is what we call inspirations. You'll see in the bottom right here, we currently have one inspiration to use today, and I can use that to tell one of my disciples that I want them to do something. I can inspire them to great acts. And I am going to pick Marathu here, and I'm going to... Actually, let's customize Marathu a little bit. Let's make him our unique little turtle man. What is a good turtle name? Turtle Steve? Michelangelo, maybe? Leonardo, yep. Whoever said that is correct. Leonardo. Gonna give him a bit of a round head. Gonna give him some big bushy eyebrows. Make him green, obviously, as a turtle should be. Blue hair. There we go. This is perfect. Clothing, we'll go give him a nice brown. Yeah, I think we have our... Yeah, I like this. I like these lips. And a beard? No, that's a bit much for Leonardo here. Some freckles. It's Leonardo! My prophet. And my good boy. I'm going to tell him, using one of my inspirations, to go over to this temple we've constructed here and perform a ritual there. And the ritual is going to get him some stuff. Again, all these UIs are super work in progress. Don't mind how ugly they are. We're working on it. So as you'll see, if someone performs the ritual here in this temple, they will gain 25% progress to learning a new ability, which they can use in the sacrament, and 10% progress towards the prophet background. Every disciple has a number of backgrounds to work with. Let me actually find... Montezuma, for example, already has the prophet background, which gives him a number of benefits. Backgrounds can have all kinds of cool different benefits. This one is pretty basic. It just gives you a bunch of stat increases. So as you'll see, all of his statistics are increased because he is a prophet. And we're gonna try and get Leonardo to be our second prophet. Let's see how this goes. Leonardo has decided to perform the ritual, and there he goes. Look at him. Look at him yell. So the thing that happened just now is... actually, I'll just continue to the next day. We'll see what happens. So as you'll see, Leonardo is making progress towards becoming a prophet, and he's learning a new ability. Now, what you just saw when I assigned Leonardo was this on the bottom left of the screen here, the disciple mind. Every disciple, based on how much they believe in you, how faithful they are, they'll have a different mind. And when I inspire disciples to do something, depending on their faith and how their mind is set, they might actually decide to, you know, they might disagree with my decision. They might just completely, you know, go do something else, or even get upset with me, or, you know, with their god, me, Turtlepuss, because they believe that, you know, I shouldn't be meddling in their business. However, Zoo here is actually really quite excited about Turtletopia, and so their mind is filled with little happy faces, which means that there's a really good chance that they'll do what I tell them to do. So I'm actually gonna tell them to go to these gardens here, which just kind of look like a jungle, and here they can chill out and recover some spirit, which is this spirit bar over here. The spirit is essentially the HP of a disciple, so I want Zoo here to heal up a little bit, so that we can perform another sacrament. I'm going to continue again. And save. Alright, so Zoo is healing up, Leonardo is becoming our prophet, and I'm gonna get Chipachtli here, is going to attract some new worshippers. If I assign them to the temple site village center over here, you'll note that in the rewards it actually says that it gives 1 tortoise, and if you'll remember, tortoise is what we called our worshippers. So he's gonna go over here and convince more people to join our religion. Right now we have 10 tortoise. They're walking around playing the flute, but I need more. I need to grow. Ooh! Chipachtli is bringing offers to Turtlepuss in the village center. This is a little event, and we can decide what to do here. So Chipachtli has brought a little sack of bananas or whatever that is to offer to me, and we can take these offerings and gain a resource, the offerings resource, which we can use to do some other stuff later on, or we can bless him, which will add the blessed buff to Chipachtli. But I think we could use some resources, so I'm just going to take these offerings so that Turtletopia can use them for a benefit. Here we are. There's some offerings. Right now we can't do anything with them yet, but we will be able to do so soon. Montezuma isn't doing anything yet. I'm going to tell him to also be gathering more tortas. Because if we have enough followers, our religion will actually increase in level. Hey, Leonardo is seeing results from his rituals. He has gained an ability point. So let's go ahead and use that ability point, shall we? So, we'll have something to talk about after this. If you remember in the sacrament that we did at the start of the game, where I lost horribly, every disciple has a mind during the sacrament as well. And their mind is filled with these abilities. Every slot is one ability that they can use. And every turn, they themselves decide which of their abilities to use. For example, though, the Condemn skill is in here more than once, which will actually mean that there's a bigger chance that he will use that ability. So, while I don't have direct control over what a disciple does during the sacrament, I can actually prepare them in a way that I can ensure my victory. Leonardo, I can give him one new ability, and I'll give him the Defy ability. I'll talk about what that does later down the line. Let's see, Zoo is going back to the gardens to heal up their spirits a little bit more. They agreed to do what I wanted them to do. And pretty soon here, I'm gonna look to expand my religion. So, Leonardo actually has a prayer for me. He wants to be in a sacrament. Now, every once in a while, your disciples, depending on their character traits and the situation of your religion, will make prayers. They'll basically ask of their god, Tortoise, to do something. In this case, Leonardo is praying to be part of a sacrament. He says he wants to be part of one sacrament within 10 days. And right now that's actually lowering his faith a little bit because he hasn't been in a sacrament yet. And if I don't hear his prayers within this time frame, he will actually get really upset with me and his faith will plummet, which is bad. The lower the faith of your disciples, the less likely they are to actually listen to what you have to say. So I'm gonna have to think about getting him in a sacrament and appease him, essentially.
Still clipping a bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm still clipping a little bit, I hear. It's clipping like crazy, even. I'm moving the microphone back a little bit. Let me know how that sounds, okay? So I was talking about sending Leonardo out on a sacrament. And the way that we can do that is through the mission. And it's also the main way that we can actually progress the game. We are a little village over here. This is us. And besides us are other different tribes. The Lands of Lawless Rage over here and some unguided druids over here. And we can actually send our disciples out to perform the sacrament against them and convince them that Tortoise is the rightful god for them. And in doing so, we'll actually gain a lot of new worshippers, or tortoise as we called them, and you know, we'll appease Leonardo, who is praying to be in a sacrament as well. Let's see about where we want to go. I think I'm going to go fight these unguided druids, because if we actually manage to completely convert one of these tribes, we can then start a new mission from that tile. So that allows us to actually explore deeper into the world and get to these guys, the old city. And if you remember from the start of the game, from the little tutorial, our current goal is actually to spread war in the old city and convince the old city, the ancestor worshippers there, that Tortoise is the rightful god. So let's actually go and send a mission to these unguided druids. I'm going to be sending 4 of our disciples. Leonardo really wants to go, so he's going to come. It's Pachli and Zoo as well. Every disciple has a class. And right now in the game, the only way to tell a class apart is by their little weapon that they're carrying. But if you check some of the Kickstarter updates, you actually see that we have some really cool concept art for unique costumes and things for the different classes. We have a Rage Prophet with us, who is a melee fighter, a really powerful one at that. We have a Weaver, who can cause nightmares and dreams in their opponents. We have a Hunter, who can actually, yeah, they're just sort of, I think they're actually a temporary class. We're going to be taking that one out. But they're just sort of a damage dealer. And we have another Weaver. So let's do this. I will be sending my disciples to convert the Leaf Tribe. Okay, so you remember the screen from the start of the game. I'm selecting which disciples I'm sending into combat. So these druids, let me look at their abilities. They are really good at performing defenses against morale attacks. In the game you actually have 2 types of damage you can do. You can either convince people how great you are by beating them up through melee combat, or you can convince them by lowering their morale by basically making speech attacks, like telling them like, no, Tortoise is much greater and here's why. Leonardo actually can do that, but our 2 melee fighters are really much more about beating up their enemies. And let's start. Let's see how this goes. So our goal in the sacrament is to lower the opponent's HP, or spirit, to 0. Right now it's 30, ours is 20. Let's see how this goes. Got a big hit from Montezuma. Tzipachli was nervous and decided not to do anything. Good job, Leonardo. And again. Got a lot of big hits coming in from there. There we go. And that's that. We won. Got some XP. If disciples participate in these sacraments, they will gain experience. And if they go level up, their stats will increase. They will gain new abilities that they can unlock and things like that. So it's generally really good. And we got 2 tortas. So our religion can expand if we get enough of them. I believe if we get 15 tortas, we had 10 at the start. If we get 15, we actually go level up and become a bigger religion. Let's see. We're gonna go and do another sacrament here. So you'll note that Leonardo's spirit actually is pretty hurt already. Any spirit damage you take in previous encounters actually carries over. So it's up to us to decide when to call it quits or when to keep going. Yeah, let's stick with the setup we had before. I'll explain what I'm doing here in the next sacrament we fight, but let's see how this goes first. Taking a look at chat. Yoni's in the chat answering questions. Thanks for that, Yoni.
Hi.
Yoni says hi. Montezuma does a big hit. So Leonardo, or the Godless here at the top, is using the Defy skill. And that is a defensive skill. And what that allows Leonardo here to do actually is when the enemy is targeting one of my other disciples, Leonardo can intervene and jump in between and take the hit. Oof. We got 1 Godless. There's still 2 standing. They're almost out of spirit. There comes Leonardo with the defend. He's taking a lot of damage, but his defense stat is much better than Tzipachli's, so it's a good thing that he is defending. And there we go, and that's the win. Tzipachli went level up, that's good. And we got some more tortas. What you'll also see here is that every time that we defeat enemies in the sacrament, we gain some glory. And glory is really, really, really useful. The more glory we build up during the mission, the longer we can actually influence our disciples when we get back to the holy site. If our glory runs out, it'll actually start affecting our godhood, which is sort of your god HP bar. And when your godhood drops to 0, you lose the game. So we actually want to keep our glory up to make sure that we don't lose the game. Leonardo's pretty badly hurt here, so I'm gonna put in Zoo, who hasn't been in any fights yet, and I'm gonna focus completely on attacking. So what I'm doing here is just like how in the village, the holy site, you can inspire your disciples to perform specific rituals. Out here in the sacrament, you can inspire your disciples to perform specific abilities. So for Montezuma here, I can tell him, I really want you to perform. Actually, Zoo is a better example. Zoo has a single nightmare skill in his slots, and he's got a couple of other ones. But if I really want him to perform the nightmare skill, I can click it here, and based on his faith, he will actually add extra slots of nightmare in his mind. So what that actually means is there's a bigger chance that he will cast that spell. If his faith, however, was really low, he would probably not listen to me, and I would have less control over what he does in the battle. So let's get started. Oh, yeah, these battles do get progressively harder, so I'm a little bit worried. Especially since Zoo is nervous and not doing much useful. That's good.
Or this might be a question for you, but the enemy disciples.
Oh, yeah.
You can. There's a Kickstarter reward for naming your own enemy disciple.
Yes.
And what exactly is an enemy disciple?
Okay, so Yoni asked me here, probably a question from the chat, that one of the Kickstarter tiers actually allows you to name one of the enemy disciples in the game. And what that means is, these guys, as you'll see, they are called godless. They are basically simple, sort of like goons, like enemy goons. They don't have a name, they are just there for me to beat up. But every tribe has a leader, and this is actually a named character. I'm going to be trying to fight one now, the voice of the forest over here. And if you back at the tier where you can name one of the enemy disciples, you actually get to name one of the leaders of one of these tribes, and you get to decide which of the enemy gods they worship. So you sort of get to decide where in the game they'll appear. So if you feel like you want to put a guy in the game that worships the crocodile god of hunger, which is one of the enemy gods that will appear in the game, and you want to give him a cool crocodile name, that's up to you. But they'll sort of be boss characters, is what I'm trying to say. This is going to be a difficult fight. I'm going to put in Leonardo with the defense skill here. He might go down, and he's probably going to be pretty upset at me. His faith might lower because he is taken out. But Sue is looking a lot worse here, and yeah, let's see how this goes. So since it's this early game, I don't have a ton of options yet, but as the game progresses, my characters are going to be learning more and more different skills, and I can actually combo those into each other, and a lot more like tactical decision making gets unlocked. Leonardo with the nightmare skill here, which that does a lot of damage. The other character is actually weak to his nightmare skill. That's a big hit, and Leonardo's out. 9-9. Oh no, Montezuma is nervous. Oh, we have to make this round, and then we might win. Oh, come on. No, we were so close. But we gained some experience. In Godhood, loss is, you know, a reality of the game, and it's actually totally fine to lose. Unlike other games, you don't just go game over. We're still going to gain a bunch of glory from our mission, because we got pretty far, actually. We can choose to go again, but I don't know that we'll make that. I don't think we can beat them. So I might return to the city for now. So your disciples decide to head home and try again some other day. We did gain 6 tortas, and we got a bunch of glory from the battles we did win. So all in all, you know, it's not a bad day for a god. Let's see if we leveled up. So we completed a request for Leonardo. If you remember, Leonardo had an ambition. He really wanted to be in one of the sacraments, and he got to do that. In fact, he got his ass kicked. And Turtletopia grew. It is now a spiritual circle of 20 tortas, a budding belief shared among a couple of tortas. And that actually means that our godhood, is, our religion HP as it's called here, is increased a little bit. And when we get 22, we'll actually level up again. So we should be able to do that. However, our quest for war is going to be a little ways away, because we need to get past these unguided druids before we can get to the old city and do our thing there. As you'll note, Leonardo his will, his faith, has been broken. The thing is, because the sacrament is a religious conflict, if your disciples get defeated, they actually start to doubt in you and in your ability to guide them. And right now, Leonardo really doesn't want to do anything because his spirit is broken and his faith is incredibly low. Oh, he looks so mad too. Look at him. Oh my gosh. So, I think I'm just gonna have to wait that out. He might, yeah, he will regain some faith in me in a couple of days. In the meantime, let's see if we can get some more tortoise and increase in level. I'm gonna inspire Montezuma to go to the village square and gain some more tortoise for us.
Oh, wait.
Yes?
Can you spend some resource to change your current quest? E.g. if you want to stay pacifistic.
Right, so we have a question. Can you spend some kind of resource to change a current quest or prayer in case you want to stay pacifistic? So, right now you cannot. You can choose to ignore prayers. There might be ways, we're thinking of ways that you can maybe punish someone or something like that in order to solve a prayer a different way. But a thing that I will say, the sacrament that we just saw can be pacifistic. We did a lot of punching and slamming because we are a war religion after all. But if you were playing, say, a peaceful religion with a lot of priests and weavers and other like zealots, other morale-based spellcasting classes, let's say, the sacrament actually becomes something very different, where instead of hitting someone in the face, you are telling them like, my God is greater. And that is exactly why characters don't have HP, but they have spirits. Because in this mystical world, when you beat someone up, they are convinced that it must be because your God is better. In the same way, if you tell someone off, or like convince them, you know, forcefully that your God is better, they'll take it for granted as well. So the sacrament will always be a part of your game, even if you are a peaceful religion. It's just that you perform the sacrament in a different way. Tipachli is chanting Turtlepus's name in glory. We can bless him, or we can gain some Mystica resource. I think he did pretty well. He leveled up in that last fight, so I'm gonna bless him. Oh, look at him. And let's actually take a moment. The Blessed Buff actually increases his faith, which is nice, because it means that there's a bigger chance of him performing their duties admirably. We have 21 tortas, we're almost at 22, which will level us up. Zoo is pretty low spirit again, so I'm going to send him over to the gardens, which, if you'll remember, heals spirit. They just go and relax in the jungles. So right now I haven't had an opportunity to build any new temples or rituals yet, but that is a part of the game. We'll see if we can get there. Yay! Turtletopia grew. It is now a spiritual circle of 22 tortas. The first hunger happens. Let's see what that is. We will become a developed spiritual circle at 30 tortas. So that's a new goal to set. Meanwhile, Montezuma has actually gained a background from training so much. He is now a warden, which gives him +1 devotion and +1 health, which is good. Devotion is his sort of spiritual spiritual defense. The more devoted your people are, the more they can listen to other people try and convince them and be like, nah, that ain't right. And health just makes them tougher, so they can take more hits. Meanwhile, Zoo has gained an ability point. Look at us. So, let's spend that ability point that Zoo got. And I'm gonna teach him the Condemn skill again. I gave Leonardo the Defy skill, which, if you'll remember, is a defensive ability. But I'll make Zoo a more offensive, say, speaker. So you can actually use his speech and his nightmare spell to convince people of my greatness. Let's see, I have some more inspirations to spend here. I'm gonna send Tipachli to the gardens as well to heal up a little bit. The first hunger. We got this because we reached level 2, so let's see what happens. When the holy city grew in followers, the first hunger emerged. The fruits were not growing fast enough to feed all the tortoise. Mad by hunger, they complained to Star. That's a bug. Star should be a person, but he's just called Star now. Has Turtlepuss already forsaken us? Star calmed the crowd and spoke the word of Turtlepuss. So now we can make a choice, actually, about how our religion views food. We could say, take these seeds and spread it in the ground. Turtlepuss will bless the ground, and food will grow. We can say, bring these young animals to a pasture. Turtlepuss will make them multiply, and they will feed us. Or we can say, take your hunting gear and go forth to the forest. Turtlepuss assigned. The bounty there will be never-ending. So we can either do farming, what do you call that? Animal herding, or hunting. So let's look at the chat and see what people are thinking. Someone was saying farming. Do pasture. Go forth to the forest. I got 2 huntings, 1 farming, 3 hunting. Pasture. Unless, yeah, someone else said hunting. Hunting wins. They're going to take their hunting gear and go forth into the forest. And as you'll actually see when we hover over here, this means that characters can gain the hunter background, which improves a disciple's cunning and might. Cunning is a stat that allows them to, I think the hunter class actually still benefits from that, and might allows them to do more physical damage. Considering that we have 2 physical strikers, it's actually a pretty good idea to go for the hunting background. So let's do that. The tortoise saw wisdom in this. From this day on, they respected the hunter as a respected calling that would feed the people. Star added that some game should be kept apart as offerings to Turtlepuss. Turtlepuss will feed us. So, we're actually going to be adding a new facility to our holy temple ground. Over here, as you'll see, we can now inspire a hunter's lodge. Yeah, the offering is hard to read. Like I said, all the UI is extremely work in progress. So don't take anything you see here for granted. It's all really work in progress and we're working on it. We are going to be building a hunter's lodge. So I can actually choose where we're going to place this now. And I'm going to say, I'm going to move towards the water. So I'm going to build my hunter's lodge over here. And I'm going to now have to inspire one of my disciples to work to build it. Montezuma and Cipagli are already doing some tasks. So I'm going to tell Zoo over here to go construct. He's in a really good mood, so he's not going to ignore me. In fact, he got the big smiley face, which means that he is working passionately. And there's a small chance of that happening. And again, the more faith disciple has, the bigger the chance that they will, you know, hear my inspiration and react passionately, and they'll actually work much faster than they would normally. So we're going to be seeing him build this pretty quick.
Rick?
Yeah?
Askwork in the chat asks, does it matter where you put stuff?
Askwork in chat asks, does it matter where you put stuff? It doesn't really. It's really up to how you feel your religious site should look. So if you feel like, the farms, you know, they should be a little bit further away from my temple, that's totally up to you. Let's see. Oh, that's a lot of nothing. Can't see how his progress is doing. Montezuma, my chosen prophet. Montezuma has a lot of progress towards getting the warden background. So I'm just going to tell him to go to the temple site here to get the warden background so he can level up his stats. You actually see that we can also upgrade these religious buildings. Let's see what we need. We either need 10 Mystica to get the Humming Praise upgrade, or 10 Devotees to get the Community Watcher upgrade. We don't have that yet. In fact, we have 0 Mystica and 0 Devotees, but we did gain some offerings earlier. we might be able to use those later. So Montezuma, you're gonna go over there, and he does it passionately. So that's great. That means he's gonna gain a ton of progress. And let's continue. Yay! Leonardo, my good turtle boy. He believes in me again. He's been sulking. Let's see. Zoo is bringing offers to Turtle Puss in the village center. Let's see if we can gather some resources. I'm going to take these offerings for later. Thanks, Zoo. And depending on their character traits, again, this isn't quite implemented yet, but they might be doing different things in those little events. I'm going to be trying to get my disciples to go to full HP again, and then I'm going to go out on the sacrament again. Leonardo wants an inspiration. Leonardo is a... I mean, he's green, he's cool, but he is constantly wanting me to tell him to do things. So right now Leonardo really wants to feel special, and he wants me to spend one of my inspirations to tell him what to do. Otherwise he's gonna throw a fit again and lower his faith. Montezuma has gained the Warden background, good for him. I'm gonna tell Leonardo now to... let's see how he's doing. He almost has the Prophet background, so I'm going to tell him to go to his temple. Oh, okay. Oh, sweet. Because I told him to do that, I've immediately followed that prayer. Someone's saying I thought he was already a Warden. So you can actually gain a background multiple times. So if you look at Montezuma here, he has the Warden background twice. Each time that he has a background, he actually gets the benefits of that background. So by deciding how to inspire my disciples to do things, I can sort of, that's part of how I can customize them and their abilities. The Warden background, as you'll see, gives defensive stats, so Montezuma is going to be a little bit tougher because he got this background twice. But you'll also note that he doesn't have any more background slots to fill up. If he levels up, he actually gains new slots for me to fill up. So I might want to throw him in a sacrament soon, so that he can gain new backgrounds, and thus increase his stats even further. Let's continue. Hey! Oh! The hunting lodge is still not built, so I'm going to tell Cipacli to finish that up. Let's see if we can get this hunting lodge built. Leonardo got another ability point. Good tune. Good boy. I'm going to teach him the Defy skill again. And, look at this! Our Hunter's Lodge has been finished. It's completed construction. And over here, characters can gain the Hunter background, which gives them Cunning and Might. So I might want to consider giving that to my warriors, so they can gain more combat ability. They will also produce some offerings from the hunting that they do. So let's do that. Let's get some offerings. So Zoo, who do I want to be a hunter? Zoo doesn't have any backgrounds yet. He's just been spending time healing up. So I'm gonna train Zoo to become a hunter. So right now we don't have any activity animations yet. Characters will just go over to a place and start raising their arm, like that. But Carmen, our animator, is working on some really cool animations where your characters will actually go out and do stuff, like hunting or taking care of animals. We have a lot of prayers coming in here. Everybody wants to be in the sacrament. I think, and that is actually because, as you'll see, my glory is fading. If you'll remember what I told you earlier, every time we go on a mission we build up glory, and when that glory starts to fade, it'll start affecting our godhood, and our people will start to get really, like, their faith in us will be shook. So we'll need to start a mission pretty soon. I'm gonna try and spend another couple of days. I'm gonna heal up Leonardo a little bit in the gardens, and then I'm gonna go start another mission. Leonardo's got some
Question in the chat about how long the campaigns will last.
question in the chat. How long campaigns last? So we're still very much working on what sort of timing we want to use for that. It's like super in progress, but we are thinking of including 2 different modes to the game. One that is a more sort of straightforward single-player story mode, in which you essentially face a number of different enemy gods, adversary gods, until you eventually become the greatest of all, and then you win. In that case, the story, the duration of a campaign is kind of up to you, and it kind of depends on how successful you are and how quickly you defeat challenges. And we also want to make a type of game in which you are limited by time, and you're actually sort of trying to get to become the best religion you possibly can be within that time limit. And at the end of the time, the sort of mystical age ends, and you get graded. Like if you played well enough, actually means that you become like the primary religion of the world, you know, when time passes beyond that game. But we are thinking probably like 15 hours. Adrian, our lead designer, really loves Civ and really loves the pacing and time that a Civ game costs, so that's sort of what we're aiming for. We're going to be setting up another mission, because as you'll see, our Godhood is running out. We actually have a lot of progress on converting these unguided druids, so we're going to continue with that. Everybody wants to be in a sacrament, so I'm sending all my disciples. You'll actually see that their faith in me is a little shaken, and because of that they've actually replaced one of their abilities with this little angry looking face, this little frustrated face, and if they roll that ability, so to say, they will actually, out of frustration, just lash out at an enemy. So what's interesting about that is the less faith your disciples have in you, the less able to control them you are. I'm gonna send my top tier disciples out to defeat the voice of the forest. Leonardo, I'm gonna tell to defy, so that he can use his defensive defying ability to block the enemy speech attacks, these condemns. I'm going to tell Montezuma and Chipakli to focus on attacking, because their enemy doesn't have any sort of physical defenses. They'll actually be more effective in doing so. So let's do that. Actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Chipakli. And I'm going to tell him to focus on using the I'm going to tell her to focus on using the Nightmare skill. Now, a lot of skills in the game actually have an element, or a type. We haven't really figured out a word for it yet. The Nightmare skill is a dark skill. There are, I believe, 5 of these types in the game. And as you'll note, these druids are actually weak versus dark. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that by telling Zoo here to focus on doing the Nightmare skill, and hopefully that's going to do a lot of damage. So let's see how that goes. So as you'll see, you know... Oh no! Folks, this is an alpha build. And it's very much an alpha build, which means that sometimes the game will crash, as it just did. So I'm going to restart and load my latest game.
It's also almost time.
It's also almost time. Yeah, we didn't really get to, because I lost that first fight, we didn't really get to unlocking a lot of cool war stuff, which is a little bit too bad.
Did you get some bloodlust?
No, we didn't get any bloodlust. So that's the thing. The moment that we actually managed to achieve our first goal and defeat the elders, that's when we gain the war commandment, and from that point on we can like build an arena, and our guys will start wearing like little war get-ups and things like that. And from that point on we can actually also start telling them about tenets. We can teach them what about war is good. So what I should have done It's a thing. A note for next stream is actually create a late game save, so we can load that up actually. So we'll do that next time. This is our latest save here.
Now we have reason for even one more stream.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another stream. Maybe we'll just do another stream where we just load up a late game war thing. Maybe we'll do that sometime next week. Because there's some really cool mechanics there that I haven't been able to show off yet. I mean, I could also just kind of keep going. I'm in it now. Let's at least defeat these druids. So we're back at where we were in the previous turn, and we're gonna send our disciples to defeat these druids. Let's at least convert another tribe. So Zoo is gonna focus on using her nightmare skill. Chipachli and Montezuma. Actually, Leonardo's gonna defend. And yeah, this is it. Wow, Leonardo's... So you actually know, Leonardo is of really high faith right now. And because of that, he is getting a ton of extra Defy skill slots added to his mind. Which means that there's a really big chance he's gonna do that. Which is great. Yes. Oh, you'll note they have a lot more worshippers over here on the right. Let's see how we do. They kicked our butts last time, but we've trained a lot. We've done our rituals. Boom! The nightmare skill, as you see, does a ton of damage. I think we got this. So this is sort of like a miniature version of the loop of the game, where you're going to be spending a lot of time preparing to convert other tribes, gain more glory and more worshippers and things like that. Sorry, tortoise. And then go out and do the sacrament, try to prepare your disciples in the right way, give them the right abilities to take advantage of your enemy's weaknesses, and combo off of each other. In order for you to grow, maintain your glory, and become a great religion. So we got 10 tortas here, and a bunch of Mystica, which is a resource that we can use. Oh, that's interesting. I should say, because now we've convinced these druids to worship us, they will actually give us an offering. Each year, and it's kind of hard to read here as well, but each year they'll offer us 2 Mystica resource as an offering. So that's really great. So the more different tribes you have convinced to worship you, the more resources you'll slowly be gathering. And we leveled up again, which is great. I don't know, let's just do one more event. It's starting now. Let's do one more event. Can I just keep playing?
Sure, yeah.
Can I just keep playing? I'm having a good time. So because I've been focused on the Kickstarter a lot, I haven't been playing the game too much. So it's just been kind of fun for me to actually just get to play the game. We have an event popping up here, the Thirst for Spirituality, because we leveled up. As Turtletopia expands, a few tortas start to thirst for a closer connection to Turtlepus. They ask Star, again, what to do to practice their faith. Star says that discipleship is not for everyone. However, there is a way to bring yourself closer to Turtlepus. We could tell our, and this is gonna give us another one of those, what do you call them? Facilities to place in our holy site. We can tell them to pray to Turtlepus every day, and he will listen and strengthen your faith. We can tell them to meditate on the birds, the trees, and the 4 truths of the world, and Turtlepus will answer. Or we can tell them to praise Turtlepus in stories. He will hear his name and come to bless us. So... No, Mom, I can't save the game, Mom. I have to keep playing. What are we thinking for this one? Praying, meditating, or telling stories? Stories, I'm getting. Storytelling would be nice. Storytelling is nice. Let's see what it actually gives us. Spending time here gathers devotees and gives the storyteller background, which improves the disciples' charisma and knowledge. That would actually be useful for our Weaver characters because they use their charisma to cast their spells. So let's do that. The tortoise saw wisdom in this. From this day on, they respected the storyteller as the one who calls Turtlepuss's name and brings them closer. There is a prophecy that these storytellers will turn mere followers into devotees, which is you completely can't read. Cool. Oh, should we just try to beat them? Should we just send them out on a mission and try to beat them? Should we? We've been going for an hour. And Yoni wants to go home.
That's fine.
I'm just gonna send them. They are wholly underprepared, but I'm just gonna send them out against the elders here, and we're gonna see how they do. Okay, chat? And that's gonna be where we end the stream. They are wholly unprepared. We're probably gonna get whooped, but we're gonna go out with a bang. We didn't get to build our storyteller yet. That's a bit too bad. Let's see how this goes. No, Azuark, not death to the infidels. Conversion to the infidels. They are much better helping us. Although you will see that if we do gain the war commandment, which is what we would get if we won these sacraments, we do get the ability to raid enemy tribes and instill fear and suffering in them. Right now we can't yet though. Oof, that was a big hit. I think this one we got. Yeah, for those that can't get enough Godhood, like me, we're going to be doing another stream next week on Wednesday, in which we wanted to show off a peace religion, but maybe we'll show off our religion too, or maybe we'll do another stream where we do that, I don't know yet. And on the last day of the campaign, which is next week's Friday, we will actually be getting a couple of devs, and we're going to be sitting down, and we're just going to chill, and we're going to hang out for the last 2 hours of the campaign, and answer questions, talk about the game. It's going to be pretty early for European time, pretty late for American time, but hopefully, you know, a lot of you can make it, and we can just have fun and talk about Godhood. Maybe play a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what we do. Fighting these stubborn elders. They kicked our ass at the start of the game. Let's see how we do now. Chipakli is out. Poor thing. Montezuma's nervous. He did so well. So a fun thing about the battles, anytime we can actually pause the battle to sort of inspect everybody's stats, the buffs they have, the abilities that they can use, and things like that. Especially in the late game, you're going to want to use this to prepare your strategies. And this looks like a perfect moment to end the stream on, because the game froze again.
It's a sign.
Early, it's a sign.
Sign from the war gods.
It's a sign from Turtlepuss. I think he's done, and so are we. Thank you all so much for joining us for the stream. I hope you had a good time. I had a great time playing Godhood and hanging out with you all. Like I said, we're going to be doing more streams next week. If you haven't checked out the Kickstarter yet, please check it out. We have a lot more information on how the game plays on the page, and the updates as well. You can read all about the different character classes, for example, in some updates that we did. If you have backed already, thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you. We're going to be releasing the game. Either way, we're almost 80%, no? 75?
Almost, yeah.
Almost at 80% of our goal. So let's get to 100%, and when we get to 100%, we're going to unlock a new type of god for you to play, namely an ancient eldritch god, where instead of war or peace, you can actually pick madness as a commandment, which is going to be super fun, because then you're going to be driving your disciples mad with power. So yeah, let's get to 100%. Tell your friends, tell your parents, steal their credit cards. Let's make sure we make Godhood a great success. thank you all so much. That was me. That was Rick. We got Yoni over here. We are Abbey Games. This is Godhood. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.